Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fun Asia Desi Pages talk show with me, RJ Navneeta, hosted in Dallas, USA, produced by Fun Asia CEO Vaishali Thakkar. Today with us, we have a renowned author with master craftsmanship in writing biographies and historical fiction. Three of his books: The Turbaned Tornado, biography of the oldest marathon runner Fauja Singh, Maharaja in Denims, and the recent release, The Opium Toffee, are being adapted into cinematic experiences, making him one of the most fascinating contemporary authors of India. His biography of former Punjab Chief Minister Capt. Amarinder Singh set new standards in writing biographies of Indian political giants. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the fearless and creative Khushwant Singh. Yeah, you got the name right. Who has worn many hats: a journalist, a columnist, TV host, farmer, and currently the State Information Commissioner in Punjab. Wow. Welcome, Khushwant. How are you doing today?
Very well, fine, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. I understand it's a very prestigious show, and many people in the Dallas area and around and globally they listen to it. So it's an honor to be on this show. Thank you.
It's an honor to have you, and thank you so much for coming all the way from India on the show. When I heard about your story, a farmer, an author, and a commissioner, it's three different ways of life. How did this lead one to another?
Well, I guess you don't fine tune your journey. All things happen, they just keep happening. You keep doing things. So my journey as a writer, actually my writer and farming I was a farmer, I was a farm columnist. I used to write on agriculture when I joined my ancestral farm in Hoshiarpur after my studies. And so my column was pretty popular I used to write on agriculture practices and horticulture and poplar growing and quinoa growing. And then I started reporting for Times of India. So I kind of became a journalist. And then I decided enough of this that I must write a book. In fact, my first book is Sikhs Unlimited.
Yes.
And it's a travelogue from UK to London where I meet these very interesting Sikh men and women and document their lives to showcase to the world that how beautifully they have contributed in all affairs, in their adopted countries, their adapted countries, whether it's financially, whether it's the creative side. So that was my first book actually. And then I wrote Fauja Singh's biography. And finally, Maharaja in Denims, my novel, which is being adapted by one of the best producers in the industry, Guneet Monga. She produced Lunchbox
Oh,
and Gangs of Wasepur. And then I
interesting.
was offered, yes, and then I was offered Captain Amarinder Singh's biography. And I kind of said yes to the publisher, and then I approached Captain Amarinder. In fact, his first question was who would buy it. But in any case, we kind of went ahead, and
So sweet.
yes, then here I am working as on a constitutional post as State Information Commissioner, which entails basically I'm the final appellate authority for RTI applications. So it's an interesting experience to uh, be part of the government and see a different side of life. It's very different from the creative side that I've been, but during the same process I finished another book, The Opium Toffee. So
Exactly.
I think I'm a writer at heart basically. And though I find it difficult switching on and off from my official role and to a writer's role, but I think the lockdown helped me to complete this book.
So interesting. And the name more interesting because I find all the names of your novels and books very, very interesting. The Opium Toffee, Maharaja in Denims. These names, the Turbaned uh,
Tornado.
Tornado, uh, and the Opium Toffee, which has released. Has it released?
Yes, so it's in the market. I mean, we haven't had some formal functions as yet, but yeah, it's just come on the shelves a couple of days ago. It's on Amazon, and yeah, so it's there for anyone who wants to pick it up and read it.
So do you have a book which we our viewers can see how
Yes,
it
yes, I have a
looks?
copy, definitely there.
Oh my God, see,
I love the
that's
cover.
beautiful.
Uh, the
So the
creative.
Opium Toffee, interesting, intriguing your names are. Opium, yes, not desirable, it drugs. And toffee is something we would give to the kids. And I'm sure this is done intentionally to put
So,
some
so
thought.
it's nothing. So it's not one doesn't break like that. But usually the opium or the feme we call it in in how the way it is. It's in the form of that little goli.
Hmm. Huh. Right.
So that's how the opium toffee.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
So
So
tell us,
it's
what made you write the Opium Toffee? And you've been writing a lot on Punjab. Why do you
so
feel so intently for that subject?
I guess I belong to this area, and my roots are here, and I think I have experienced uh, life from many different angles. And even if I try not to write on Punjab, ultimately my book ends up with a Punjab story. And whether it's Fauja Singh's biography, whether it's Sikhs Unlimited, whether there was another book, Mending Souls, whether Maharaja and Denims. In fact, Maharaja and Denims is a book which is juxtaposed between Maharaja Ranjit Singh's empire and contemporary India, of this guy who keeps getting flashbacks of being Maharaja Ranjit Singh in his previous birth, and how he
Yes.
compares the current contemporary India to his empire vis-a-vis if it's secularism, vis-a-vis its valor, whatever the issues. So, so I ended up writing that.
So this Opium Toffee, what should people pick up this book to read? Why? What?
I think it's a love story of a young boy and girl, and how one bad move in life and your entire life can go awry, and it could have happened to anyone during that phase.
Hmm.
So it captures the entire spectrum. It's a fiction, it's a novel. So
Hmm.
obviously
Huh.
it's a story which is the setting is uh, of a phase which is 1980s and 1990s, but it's a fictional story. But then it's a story where a love goes haywire just because one bad move, or uh, the boy lands himself in a circumstance from where he can't get away from. And the girl is a supermodel. She becomes a supermodel and then finds him later begging in a street of London. And then the whole story captures the entire ambit of that phase, that how it happened, how he ended up as a beggar.
Wonderful. So you actually relate the realities to a fiction thought story. How do you really make up these stories to fit into both? I just want to know the process of your thinking.
I really don't have any process. I don't plot. There's no plot for Maharaja and Denims also. I never plotted. Um, so, like for a biography, a story is already set.
Exactly.
The only thing you have to do is unravel through research, and then you kind of move around. The story set, you know the beginning, you know where it's going. Um, for a fiction, for a novel, nothing is set. You just keep writing and adding things. You just keep writing, and then another thought comes in, and you keep adding them, and finally you have a book. I've never plotted for, a lot of people ask me that, do you create those charts and all, everything? I said, none of it. I just carry my laptop. I go to a coffee shop, spend 2 hours. Even if I've written one line, I'm happy. I return to my work every day, and I guess the story ends up in a book.
Lovely.
Yeah, but
So
biography, yes,
writing.
a lot of research. And I think what I realized was that, when I was writing Captain Amarinder's biography, I had to do a lot of research. So I read all kinds of documents, all kinds of authors, whether I had to come and sit in the British Library also in London for resources, or we picked up every newspaper from 1967 onwards, when he started his political career, till 2016 when I finished the biography. So we picked up every newspaper to see, what was his news, what was, and then a lot of books I read by historians, by uh, and by many former bureaucrats who were involved during the negotiations of the turbulent time in Punjab. And there are a lot of references of Captain Amarinder in that. So by the time I completed that book, my research had given me another story. It had given me another book.
Wow, that's
So
interesting.
that's, I think I use that, that research and everything, and to create this story, the Opium Toffee.
So the Opium Toffee. What this book is also getting made into a movie?
So three of my books have been optioned. Fauja Singh has been picked up by a director by the name of Umang Kumar.
Huh.
He
Oh my God.
directed Mary Com. I didn't like his other movies much, but Mary Com was his, I think, that's a selling point. And then Maharaja and Denims has been picked up by Guneet Monga, as I said. And the Opium Toffee has been optioned for a web series or a movie. I don't know what they make, but it's a very young group which wants to get into movies. It's Kerosene Films.
Huh.
So they've already created the Bible and all and made submissions. So yeah, and I'm kind of learning a new art now. You know, I was involved in how they create these episodes and everything. So yeah, I've learned a new art actually.
Yeah, so there's one more adding to your hat, the
I
feathers
don't
that are
know.
coming
Yes,
in.
but these things, you really can't say what happens. But yeah, but each day is a new day, and I'm open to everything. I'm open to
Wonderful.
learn. I'm open to wherever life takes me. I'm open to that.
All the best. We might see something different and exciting added feather and would love to know about that, Pushpan. I've
In fact,
also read
something.
about,
In fact,
sorry.
there's something very interesting.
Hmm.
It's www.theglobalsicktrail.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's an online site that I've started uh, to have short biographies of the most eminent Sikhs of the world. So we've already got
Wow.
8 or 10. So I'm going to create this huge resource. I mean, I, I specialize, I think, now in writing biographies, or I
Wonderful.
understand, the nuances of a biography. And these are not hagiographies, or they are not profiles. They're serious biographies, short biographies. Your readers can go onto that website, www.theglobalsicktrail.com, and
We
they
will
can
put
see
it
the
up.
kind of work that is happening there. And
Amazing.
I think soon next year, once I'm more free, I will take that up and create something very
This will
interesting
go
about
a long way. I mean, a lot of hidden soldiers.
hidden known. Yes, I will create this resource for the community. I've committed myself to that.
That's
And
wonderful. And I know
yes.
you do a lot of other great work as well. And I read about your carbon footprints and mobile libraries. Uh, Throw some light on that. What is that about?
So we started something called the Hoshiarpur Literary Society about 4 years ago. And the idea was, see, I'm a very strong believer that Punjab or any state, Punjab must push its creative wealth. People must contribute uh, to so that the creativity blooms. I think Punjab needs that, and and we had a lit fest. I brought in some of the top authors to talk about their works. School children, college children was so inspired by seeing, because they had questions, and it was so beautiful to see them break their shackles, and and then after that, once the lockdown happened, so then this whole lit fest business stopped, and then I decided with the president of the society, uh, that let us not get into this. Let us start mobile libraries, so that the youth of the villages, of the people can go and read. um, I mean, let's give them knowledge. Knowledge is power. So that's the idea. We've got one library. I'm going to start another one now. I mean, we are asking for people to
So you go
you know
to homes with the
fill in.
books.
No, no, no. It's a library which is parked, say, on a Monday, it's parked, say, in Model Town, Hoshiarpur. On a Tuesday,
Ah,
it's parked.
far.
So every Monday, it goes there. People become members, they take books, they return them. So it's 6 days a week, it's parked at different places. And the next week, the same places again on that given day.
Very interesting
So I
concept.
want people to contribute to this cause. NRIs are there, everyone, that they should contribute to this cause, of education, of knowledge, rather than just give funding left, right, and center for nonsensical things. Uh, This is an initiative which we started. And so I want the Hoshiarpur Lit Society should bring in new narratives into Punjab. And this program, the library is called Padda Punjab, Vadda Punjab, right? And that's the idea. And the second, what we started was, I mean, I don't see anyone talking of environment. I don't see anyone talking of, the ecology, nothing. So I calculated, a friend of mine suggested that your book must have created so much of carbon footprint. Like one scene is set in London, you must have flown to London, you drive to a cafe to write, you switch on a laptop, then there is the printing involved, then obviously the book distribution will happen through, transport. So there's a carbon footprint. So we
That
calculated that about
don't think of.
1,500 trees, yeah, if we plant, they will offset that carbon uh, footprint. So I
Wow.
requested the forest department that if they can help me with this. They did. But now I know every author, or everyone can't do this. You need land and everything. But this is a new narrative which I want to push amongst writers, international, American, publishing houses, everyone, that how should we mitigate the carbon footprint of a book. Maybe use
Yes.
organic ink. The authors can buy carbon credits, but we must. It's a new thought. I think it's a new thought within the publishing and the
Yes.
writing industry. Yes.
Very
So I've
interesting
taken
thought.
the initiative, and let's see where it goes.
Yes,
So
sky's
we
the
like to
limit.
bring in new narratives, in the sense that, yeah, push the boundaries.
And amazing. So, Khushwant Singh, the name. Is it a coincidence? I don't know how to ask this question, but I'm sure you have got this. Padma
Oh
Bhushan,
yeah,
Padma
yes,
Vibhushan.
yes.
He's been for such a long time.
There's so yeah, there's always this. He hated me. He
Ah,
Oh yes, he hated me, but
oh,
that was him. That was his character. He was. I mean, there cannot be another Khushwant Singh. The late Khushwant Singh. What an iconic man. So, uh, but I was named after him actually. My grandfather and he
oh,
were contemporaries,
oh
and
my
I think
God,
my
giving me
grandfather.
goosebumps.
Yeah, my grandfather liked his writings, and he named me. But I mean, obviously, no one knew that I would end up writing.
Imagine.
And
It was God's plan.
yes, and it's been difficult actually. It's not an advantage. It's been difficult. I've been trolled. I've been abused.
How sad.
Uh, People have said that I've tried to use this name. He himself actually also. So it has not been
Oh, not
easy,
nice.
but uh, it's very interesting. The day he passed away, a lot of media called me up and said, now, uh, the debate is settled and all that, nonsense that the media does. And they said, would you like to give a comment? I said, not at all. I was named, my grandfather named him after the great man. And there is no way that I'm going to, use this uh, to make a little petty statement. Uh, so, but it's interesting to have his name. I think I love it. It's fine.
So
So
interesting. So when I was interviewing Khushwant Singh, the mind goes there. But so nice to know that such a lovely person that you are, and it is sometimes things just happen to you, and you are carrying a burden which was not meant to be as a
so I
human
wrote a
being.
piece in the Open magazine that if my name was Natha Singh, Banta Singh, no one would have bothered. They would have judged my work independently. Um, just because my name is Khushwant Singh, you just start comparing my work with Khushwant Singh. I mean,
You
that's
never
ridiculous.
thought of changing your name at one point ever?
No, but why? I'm not a weak person. That I do these silly things.
So
Yeah.
how does Khushwant Singh unwind? What is your to-go thing to do when you really want to unwind?
Sorry.
When you want to unwind, have fun, what does Khushwant Singh do?
Well, Khushwant Singh writes. Khushwant Singh loves his coffee. Love my walk. And I have a similarity with the other Khushwant Singh. I love my scotch.
I see.
so, so yeah, enough things to unwind. I travel. Last 4 years have been, very constricting because of my assignment, but I love to travel. And largely I kind of create these books around travel. Like, I deliberately have a London setting. so that I can travel and stay and write. Like in the Opium Toffee, um, one of the most important scenes is set on the Strand in London, right at the Savoy, at the corner of Savoy Hotel, which is very historic. A lot of life has happened there at that corner for centuries.
Wonderful.
So yes, so I do that, yes, and I'm relaxed. I'm not someone who competes. I take an afternoon siesta. So yeah, I'm pretty chilled
Pretty
that way.
chilled. Wow, that is Khushwant Singh, a chilled writer, writer at heart, but has also got into the government now with this job and wants to do a lot, make a difference in the world. So, how do you want to be remembered as Khushwant? How do you want to,
You
what
cannot
legacy do you want to
define.
leave?
You don't. You cannot be. You cannot. You cannot plan these things. I don't know how I'll be remembered. I
Hmm.
mean, I can be remembered for anything, and I don't know. I mean, I can be remembered as someone who really created something very beautiful from the state. I can be remembered as someone nonsensical, whatever. I don't know how people are constantly judging and creating these things. So it doesn't worry me.
कुछ तो
Uh,
लोग कहेंगे लोगों का काम है कहना. So if we
yeah.
cannot get
So
bothered.
you cannot plan, this thing. I think you should just live for the day, and that's the formula of life.
Wonderful. Last but not least, this question goes to the youth of Punjab. And since you have grown up so closely there, a message that you can give to the world youth, your Punjab youth, that you would like to give.
Well, I think they should. I mean, I think Punjab youth is one of the most enterprising youth of the world. Wherever they get the opportunity, we've seen they flourish. And they are not in one particular trade. They are in everything, whether it's filmmaking, whether it's business, whether it's running petrol pumps, whatever, or IT or whatever. mm, Uh, you know. Uh, so I think my only uh, message or to people would be that please invest in the creative wealth of Punjab. It's beautiful. These people are very, very creative, and we need more writers. Uh, we need more artists. We need so it's a nice feeling, cosmopolitan feeling in a community, and but I think having said that. Uh, the Punjabi youth, the moment they get an opportunity, I think they're one of the most flourishing youth of the world. They are enterprising, they understand, they are not silly, they're hardworking, and they're honest.
Agree to that. And that's why they really they they take the opportunities, and that's the way they grow, and they're not close-minded. This is for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, um, you know, week. I mean, the point is never to look at the ills. Every society, every world, every nook and corner has its ills. But the pluses have to outshine so that the ills negate themselves. So if you start removing those ills and working, it's a negative. I feel it's a very negative kind of an approach. The positive approach is that play on your strengths, grow, and the ills will start. I mean, the point is that if you keep educating people, giving education, darkness itself will disappear.
Absolutely. With that
Yes.
positive note, thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It has been. The Opium Toffee just released. Where can my viewers find that book if they want to read it? If you could give those details.
I think the internationally it still would is I mean Amazon would be the best bet.
Mm-hmm.
In the coming 2-3 days, it's already on Kindle, so at least one can start getting it on Kindle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in the bookstores in India, and internationally it should be on Amazon.com soon. But the Kindle version is there if anyone wants it right away. If someone has the urge of it for it right now, the Opium Toffee, they can just go to Kindle and get it.
And have it. Totally.
Yeah, they can do
Thank you.
that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. It has been a pleasure.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful evening. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.